Hey everybody, all the ships at sea. I was explaining on my other little thing going here that this is going to be the first time I've actually done this and live stream simultaneously onto Instagram. I hope to be able to do this every time, aka I hope to remember every time. Don't know if that's going to happen, but we all can try, right? So now the next thing we want to start talking about is what's going on in the market because I'm sure that's why a lot of you are here. So let's go ahead and get to it. And some things I'm going to talk about today is before I start, I want to really thank everyone. Last week I put out a call just saying, hey, I'm getting really close to 750 subscribers here on YouTube. And please subscribe if you haven't. Everyone pitched in and I went over my goal. Uh, Still not the goal I had at the end of last year. I mean, at least it's hitting the goal of end of last year. Let's see if we can keep going and one day hit 1,000. So I'd like to go ahead and put that out there. If you're not subscribed, you see a red button for subscribe. Go ahead and subscribe and help me out a little bit. And of course, hit that like button. And if you want to, leave a comment and I can answer your question a little bit later. Okay. As far as Instagram goes, I'm doing Instagram at the same time. So I'm not going to be able to respond here as much because I'm not used to going live over on Instagram. And I hope to do TikTok one day, but you have to have a 1,000 subscribers. So I've got to work that one out also. Okay, I'll start. I'll be looking over for questions. If anybody has any, I'll go ahead and stop and go into any questions. So let us start the way we normally do. Let me see if I can switch this around. Maybe some folks from Instagram can come on here. Whoops, can see my screen. So it's not going to look as good for you guys on Instagram as here on YouTube, but this is what we live with when Instagram only wants to be a foreign phone platform. So as we always do, we start off by going through the numbers and we like to show those numbers. So right now we are looking at the 3-day forecast. So let's go ahead and change to 7. It defaults to 3 days. So new listings that came on the market, 702. Back on market, we have 206. And I'd like to explain ones that are back on market. Usually they went and they had an offer. Usually it falls through sometimes for financing. And the other reason it'll normally fall through is an appraisal issue. So this is one of those things I like to warn folks about. Just because somebody says they're going to give you a certain amount of money, they may not really mean it. They're hoping and praying that it's going to appraise. So let's say you have your house up for 450,000 and you then go like, okay, someone made me an offer for 475, because there were a bunch of offers because you had a really nice house. Well, when it comes back and it appraises for 455 or less, some of them who said they were going to pay that difference aren't going to do that. There's really very little you can do to hold somebody to that as a seller. The contracts are actually written for the benefit of the buyer. And there are so many ways. Last week, I went through several ways that people could go through and get out of a contract as far as the buyers go. And for most of you, by the time that appraisal comes back, there's still another couple of ways to get out. Oh, and there's one I didn't discuss last week. And if somebody wants to know, I'll discuss it with you. And it has to do with VA and FHA loans. Okay, so let's see here. Now, price decreases. Of course, these are people who are overpriced. And you can see that is almost a third of what's available now came back and whoops, not showing it to you. About a third of the new listings, I mean, number wise, uh, came in and did a price adjustment where they had to adjust down purely because they figured out that they weren't going to sell at the price they wanted. That's one I like to talk to folks about. Now, it kind of goes into, I mean, I never could understand this. People go, well, I need this or I need to walk away with this and all this stuff. Well, sometimes people are walking away with hundreds and thousands of dollars. I know they need it to go someplace else, but when you deal with the seller and a buyer at the same time where they're buying and selling their house, I kept noticing this. Now, I never understood this until I did an exercise about a month and a half ago. And here's how the exercise goes. You take your hand, you go counterclockwise with your finger up like this. Now look up at it. Now do not change anything and just go down. Now look at your finger. Will it change the direction from your point of view because you changed perspective? So, you have to start thinking about that perspective because none of these sellers, when they after they sold, they start looking for a house. The first thing they said is, "I'm not paying that much." I've seen people who had 20 and 30 offers on their house who turn around and they're like, "I'm not going through those games. I want someone to. I just want to find a house where it's a great house, everything's perfect, and I just want to be the only person who's offering." It doesn't really happen that way. So, just it is what it is. And going back through under contract, show and no show, 797, 351 respectively. So you can see more houses came under contract than are on the mark that came on the market. And you can see 666 sold in the last 7 days. I hope that is not a bad omen. We're not going to talk about the rest of these. Not worry about it. Let's go through. That's the problem with this. Okay, so let's do it how we always do it. And let's talk about what's going on and figure out where the cheapest or sorry, least expensive homes are right now. So let's see here. Okay, looks like oh my goodness, that is inexpensive. A condo for $55,000. That's here in the Vegas area. Let's see here. I'm trying to change this around so these guys can see the picture. Got some real fuzzy photos here. Definitely a fixer upper, but it's $55,000. So, oh my god. Okay, 510 square feet, one bedroom, one bath, built in 1982. Let's see here. Let's get some particulars. Do a little privacy here. Oh yeah, this is one that I kind of hate. There's an agent remark. Don't call me about it. Just go see it. In other words, I'm getting too many calls. Don't worry about me. Run, go see it. Don't talk to me. In other words, go waste your time because your hour drive there, your time in there, and then your drive back. Yeah, waste your afternoon. Don't call me. It's something simple. I hate that. Well, it is currently vacant. The association fee is actually not bad considering because association fees can be really high here. This association fee was only $106. This is cash only, so definitely a fixer upper. I don't know why they're not going for a conventional, um, because an investor could easily do conventional on this. Okay, I forgot to juggle all this stuff out now, so give me if it takes a little extra time. So next is going to be manufactured. Let's not worry about that. Condo, okay. Least expensive townhome. That's here in town. Let's take a look at the pictures. Okay, it looks like a single story townhome on the end. Okay. According to your style, this could be move-in ready. Okay, let's finish it up and get to those AC units look kind of new. I'm surprised. I mean, from what they looked like, I'm surprised they didn't take good pictures of those to show like new AC units so you don't have to worry about AC. Let's get back in here and get some privacy going and figure this one out. So it's 119,903 square feet, which is quite impressive for 119. Two bedroom, two bath, built in 84. See here, anything cool about it? Okay, sold as is, no repairs. Okay, supposedly it's taking cash, conventional FHA, and VA. And if somebody needs to, I can go over how to really check that. A lot of agents here do not check that stuff and they just put it on the market and you could waste your time. Then there's another special category of townhomes that are VA, that are actually condos, and it's kind of rare, but you got to watch out for that. I can show you how to do it because most agents you don't even know about it. I've talked to agents who've been here 20 years. I'll say think stuff about the PUD, and they're like, what are you talking about? So I can show you how to find that if anybody's interested. I don't want to go into a side trip right now. Uh, Taxes on this one's only 272 a year, and we have an association fee of 231 a month. Okay, let's see here. Show that work, of course. Think I'm cheating you. Let's go find that first. Okay, we found it already, and that's not going to be in this local area. That's going to be up north. Next one, we're looking for SFR. What we get for 9001. I do not recognize that zip. Let me see where it is in town. Definitely not. It's an Alamo. Okay, let's keep on going. Okay, 215. That could be in town, and it is in town. And guess what? It's the same location of that super cheap condo that we had. So this is currently the cheapest single family residence in Las Vegas, North Las Vegas, and Henderson. $215,000. Looks like a single car garage. We'll see in a second. And only has these three photos, which tells me there's probably a tenant inside. We'll see in a second. And let's see here. Let's go ahead and see. So it's 1,050 square feet, three bedroom, two bath with a one car garage. Surprisingly built in 1990. So it's fairly recent. Okay. Let's go ahead and get that privacy going and see what we get here. Okay, so this one is not an HOA. Didn't expect that. They really want a lot for EMD. I'm not going to say. I'll say it's 5,000. Something like this. They should be asking 2, 3 at max. But hey, that's up to them. Taxes are 977 a year. They're only looking at cash, but okay. This is strange. The house is vacant. It can be seen at any moment. I don't know why they only did two pictures. So it is what it is. They're allowed to do whatever they want to do. Okay, let's go to what I love to do next is as always, let's find out what you can get for that median priced home. Median price from the last statistics is 425. Let's go find that 425 house. Eeny, meeny, miny, mo, SFR. Probably should have done the condo too. Okay. This is what you can get for median. Looks like this house has possibly been flipped. Did some good. Actually, did a decent little job here. Well, quartz on white, nice little island. Well, this is a big pantry, especially in that price range. Okay, this one's not going to last long. Okay, I see one thing about it. I don't know yet. I'll have to look at an aerial photograph. But I think it's one of those that you really don't have much up front. We're going to see in a second. Hold on. So let's go. Oh, that's my fault. I just thought about that. There's so many at the same price that which one did I click on? This one? No, it's not. Well, we'll just go look at another one. I'm not sure if this is flipped or not. It may be. This is a nice little house. That 429 range. Okay, let's go and see what we get. Go find that 506 range. Okay, this is the closest thing to 506. 2,033 square feet, 4 bedroom, 2 bath, 3 car garage. And that is nice. I like it. Okay. Yep. I'm liking this. Now, again, this is what people put out there in the here and now, and not exactly, it may, this may be, if you think about it, uh, at 506, that may be a $490,000 house last month because everyone keeps raising the prices and everything. So it is what it is. No questions so far. So the next one we'll go into is, should I do this? I'm going to go do this one here. Let's talk about some news going on here. Okay, showing that U.S. is lacking in available homes. Uh, Sales fell in December for the first time in 4 months, as many would-be buyers have become frustrated. It's not just frustration; it's an affordability gap. Now, I did read something about incomes, starting to go up and everything, but it's getting harder and harder for some people to afford homes now. Existing home sales dropped 4.6%. From November to December, but you also have to look that every year home sales drop anyway. Median price, okay, this is national here, jumped 16% uh, to 358. Now, that is something to think about. They're saying here that the median price is 358, and I do believe this is from NAR, so that's nationally. Oh yeah, this is from DC, so this is not Nevada stats. Okay, if the median price is 358, I'm going to assume they use December numbers. Now compare that against Las Vegas, where we are at 420, 425 for the median. So this is no longer a cheap market. It's not California yet, but we are outpacing the nation, which of course has its issues. Inventory of homes have fallen 40% from the pre-pandemic levels, and annual sales reached 6.1 million, and that's up 8.5% from 2020, and that is the most since 2006, at the height of the last housing crisis. But of course, we have some different issues that are going on this time around. We don't have all those ninja loans and all that stuff. So most of the folks are good there. It's just these high prices are going to create an issue where it's going to be fewer and fewer people who are going to be able to afford a home. Uh, Some are pegging this to Omicron, and we'll talk about this a little bit later. But the interest rates, of course, are creeping up. Fed is going to raise interest rates 3 more times this year, which is going to create an issue. So this is showing 3.6 for the week, which is the highest since March of 2020, and we're up from 3.05 a month ago. This is just some possibly good news. This is actually they closed down one of the golf courses, Royal Links Golf Course. I do believe I played there back in the day, so that I could physically do that. They're bringing in some low cost housing options, and on one side of the street it's going to be 1,298. On the other side, it's going to be 320 homes. The 1,298. These are going to be two-story attached homes, so kind of like townhomes or something. And, they're just stating the obvious. They can start offering lower prices because they're just cramming more onto the land. And, you have people who, of course, are going to want more land, especially those who haven't, who didn't come from Las Vegas. You come from the South, you come from the Midwest or something. Because, I mean, I think the house I owned in Midwest when I was stationed in Kansas, is that the Midwest? Yeah, I guess. I think I had dang near an acre. I mean, it was a lot of space, and you just don't get that here. Because I had an individual reach out to me, and they were going like, "I'm looking through all of the homes, and none of the homes have yards and everything." And I'm like, "Well, explain how much land are you looking at?" They go, "Oh, at least an acre." It's like I'm like, "Uh, an acre may cost you about $1,000,000." Then it's like, "Oh, what about maybe half an acre?" If you want something in decent shape, maybe 500,000. Well, actually, it probably won't be in decent shape, and it's like, okay, we have to settle for what we have. So those of you who are not in Las Vegas, we don't exactly have a bunch of land here for a lot of houses, and the builders are putting houses on smaller and smaller lots, and definitely you can touch your neighbor's house when you walk through anything that's been built in the last few years, except for in luxury neighborhoods where you're paying for land. Okay. And finishing this up. uh, that little delay there. Let's see here. So median sales for newly built single family are up to an average of $469,898, up 17.8%. Townhomes and condos for new builds are up to 342. Um, Now there is something. Here's the location of where they're going to build this. I guess I didn't know this until reading this article. This is next to the city sewage plant, and when they built the original golf course, there was a covenant where they could never put houses there because of the sewage plant, and the guy paid like $7 million to the city to have the option to be able to put houses there. So we're going to see if this is going to become one of those things like back when we had the pig farm, which closed down a couple of years ago, which was like a big deal here. It was in North Las Vegas, where people are going to buy these houses and then they're going to start complaining about sewage when they know they're building next to the sewage plant. But hey, we'll see what happens. Now let's get into talking about the rates. So we are actually doing a good little bit stabilizing. So let's go back to the beginning of the year. You see, at the beginning of the year, switch this around a little bit so these guys can see this. For FHA loans, it was pretty heinous. A 640 credit score was 4.25%, and even down to a 780 or up to a 780, you can only get 4% on FHA. Then that only lasted about a week. So I feel sorry for anyone who locked in FHA right here. If you're lucky enough to get someone accept an offer, because it has dropped back down to some fairly decent levels here. So can you imagine going from having to pay 4.25% to 6.25% just in a couple of weeks? That's what's happened. As far as the others go, VA has been fairly steady, going from 3625 to 35, staying steady there at a 780 credit score. And your conventional loans are pretty much the same. But overall, if you look, it is higher because there are definitely people who locked in prior to this end of this year, who got sub threes. So I don't think sub threes are coming back. The worst case scenario that I was reading about is what happens if it hits like four, usually like 4 or 4.5%. They're saying that housing prices could possibly drop by 0.5%. Like that's going to help a whole bunch of folks. But hey, uh, at least it'll be a slowdown. Maybe it'll slow things down. We'll see what happens on that. Now, if we're going to anything else, trying to see if there are any questions. I only have two people here, so they may not be looking for questions right now. Well, I don't want to keep anybody. This one may be shorter than most because last one was a record. I had a lot of questions. If anybody has any questions, would try to get to them. Biggest thing is they don't tell me email wise when somebody sends a question, and with doing two, possibly going to three videos, maybe even four a week now, including this live stream, it may be become more difficult. Uh, because I'm thinking about adding a new one on Tuesdays called Just the Tip Tuesdays, and we'll see how that goes. And it's going to be hopefully bit shorter, where I give you like really just hardcore tips, and not just talking. It's like these are the tips you need to know to buy a house. These are tips you need to know to sell a house. And they just mix them in both. And these are the tips to sell a house this week. These are the tips to buy a house this week because I want to make it more timely with the stuff out there because I got people I mastermind with all over the country and Canada to see what's going on and see what trends are. And hopefully, some trends that they have in some parts of the country don't make it here to Las Vegas because some of the trends that I've seen and some of the things that go in some parts of the country would frighten you. Like, I was talking to one agent where they had walking away money. They called it something different, but it was basically walking away money. So, what's walking away money? You ready for this? Let's say you want to put in an offer on a house. No, they call it contingency money, I believe. You may have to put down $5,000. That's not your EMD, your earnest money. You know about earnest money. If we don't, ask a question and I'll talk about earnest money or make a video about it. Walking away money is if, because earnest money, if everything goes, sideways and the deal doesn't close, what ends up happening is the buyer gets their money back and walks away. What happens to the seller? Well, they're kind of SOL. So in these areas, they've started this contingency money thing. And if the deal goes awry, that's money the seller gets to keep. We don't have that here. So I think it can throw some gas on the fire, make things worse if we added something like that, because there's a lot of people who are unwilling to take that chance. Hey, Rochelle. Okay, first interest rate increase from the Fed, and that's to the Fed rate, Fed funds rate, which technically does not affect mortgages. I believe it's supposed to happen in March for the first of the three. What does affect mortgages is the 10-year bond. And if the Fed funds rate sends people out of certain things and sends them into bonds, and that raises the price of the 10-year bond, that will affect mortgage rates. But right now, don't expect sub threes for the rest of the year, at least from what I can see and what I've been reading about. But you could have something. I mean, but I don't know. The Fed could raise that. And some of the reasons we're having issues now, like I don't know if anybody here has stocks or anything. Stocks have gone down in the last couple of weeks like 8, 9%. And a lot of that has to do with the Fed and quantitative easing, along with the effects of Omicron. So hopefully we can get out of that one too, because some people have their money tied up in that. And even though they may be up still from a year ago, uh, let me see. I'm just going to do a little thing on the Dow here. Explain this. So let's go back a year on the Dow. I mean, like, my goodness, just from the beginning of the year, uh, the Dow's gone from 36,799 to 35,265. And if you look at a year period, we're still way up. A year ago today, we were at 30,996 to 34,265. Problem is, a lot of people, they just feel they lost a bunch of money. It's like, yeah, I had all this money that I never realized at the beginning of the year, and now I have 9% less. So they may be less inclined to buy a house because they feel poor and they want to make that up. Same thing for the people who are into the cryptocurrencies. Those are down too. Some people had a feeling that they were rich, that they're going to start buying houses with cryptocurrency, which is probably going to happen soon. They've already been some transactions. I think one here in Las Vegas has already happened where somebody used cryptocurrency to buy a nice house. So we don't know what's going to happen on that one. But I would say we're stabilizing on interest right now. If you wanted to lock something in and you had to take a loan, I would lock in before March. Well, sometime in March, because you don't know when the 10-year bond is going to happen. But overall, things are going to possibly go up a little bit more. Hope that answers your question, Rochelle. Anybody else have any questions? I don't want to keep you here forever. I'll just give it a second. I'll ramble for just a moment here to give people time to formulate a question they may have. I don't know if you can do questions here on Instagram or if anyone's actually still looking at me on Instagram. I can just see that some people have joined. This is my first long-term live on Instagram, so I don't know Instagram as well. Which also begs the question of I've had people DMing me about stuff and I don't know how to get to the DMs. So, okay. Let's see. Anything else? Okay, there and here. Okay. Well, I don't want to keep anybody too long. Don't want to talk too much personal. Only thing I talk about is I did injure myself again this week. I keep having injuries. That's why I can't work out, which is why I keep gaining weight. And long and short, I was going to a walkthrough of a new build, and you want you to put booties on before you go in to walk on it. If there's any carpet or anything else, so you don't track mud before they hand the keys over to the new buyer, then they can track mud all they want. Builder doesn't care. I was trying to put the booties on, like stand up against the wall and everything, put my leg up, and something just popped. I could just hear it. And I fell down to the ground in absolute pain. And they thought I had a heart attack. The buyers and the building super or manager or whatever who shows that final walkthrough of the new build, they're like, "Do we need to call an ambulance?" I'm like, "No, no." I'm just down there, and I was out for the count. It took me a while to get out and everything, but hey, it was done. I'm actually walking better now, so feeling good. I'll be fine. My intent is to work out tomorrow. But as I wasted time on that one just to see if anybody put in another question, I don't see any other questions coming in tonight. I'm going to end it about now. And of course, ask that question. Um, I would love for pure vanity reasons to get to 1,000 because most real estate agents, if you look at their pages, they have, a couple of hundred subscribers and stuff. So I'm feeling really good that, I've gotten to this number and I'm grateful to all of you who did subscribe. If you see this, you haven't subscribed, on the replay, go ahead, hit that subscribe button and help me get to that goal because I have to have something to keep me going here because spend a lot of time doing this YouTube stuff, and I want to be able to get as much information out there as I possibly can. Okay, with no other questions, I'm going to go ahead and end both of these live streams, and I hope you guys have a wonderful